Okay, let's see what happens if I relight this candle. The theory is that when I light this, the wick will burn, but before the stearine is melting below, so that it can get fed with molten stearine, it will actually burn down, so we will get a short wick, and that short wick will drown in the stearine later on. So let's see if that theory holds. We'll come back when this has been burning for a while. Here we can see what's happened after 4 minutes of burning. We have a pool of stearine and it's lower than the stearine around it, so the wick has burned down, and we'll see how this progresses further on. And here we are after another 4 minutes, so I think this is roughly 4 plus 4 plus 2, well, roughly 10 minutes after lighting the candle. And this is 15 minutes after lighting the candle. And here we are at 25 minutes, and we can see the pool widening, and we can also start to suspect that when the outer edges here melts, the level of melted stearine will rise, and then the wick, the candle wick, will start to drown. Let's see what happens. And here we are roughly half an hour, 40 minutes something after lighting the candle, and we can see that the flame is considerably lower, and the level of the stearine is starting to rise, and the wick that has been shortened when we lit it is now starting to drown. So yeah, we continue to follow this process. And now we are close to 1 hour after having lit the candle, and well, the process goes on, and let's see what happens when we come back the next time. And now we are roughly 1 hour and 15 minutes after lighting the candle, and we can see the flame is considerably smaller now, so it's slowly drowning in the stearine. So let's continue to follow this process. And here we are roughly, well, more than 1.5 hours after lighting the candle, and the process continues. The flame is even smaller. Okay, close to 2 hours after lighting this candle, and we see the flame going down and down as the stearine is melting and the level is rising, and the wick just can't cope with it because it's getting drowned. Okay, so I'm going to give up on this candle now. It's not going to get any better until this stearine is either burnt or drained. And what we usually do is we drain this candle, or it drains itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drain this pool of stearine, and then I put the candle out, and then I will try to relight it when it's cold, and try out my method to prevent this from happening. And we can see when we drain all the stearine that the flame goes up, and the wick is well, of a more suitable height relative to the surface of the stearine. So let's put this out. So I'm going to do an experiment here. My problem is that if I light this candle once it has been lit and cooled down, it will burn down this stem here, because it won't melt the what's it called in English, stearine, it's in Swedish. It won't melt it, so the stem here is going to burn down, and then it's going to heat up the stearine, and then it's going to drown in the stearine. So what I tried, and I could make this work at least once, I made out of thin foil, aluminium foil, household aluminium foil, a small ring, and I place that ring on the stem there. And I also take a small bit of this stearine and put it in there. And in this way, last time I tested it, which actually creates a small pool of melted stearine in there, so the stem won't burn down. And then after a while I can remove it. Let's see if I can get it to burn. It's melting, but the flame is good, and I'm going to leave it like that for another while. So it's actually easier to see from this direction that the aluminium is getting hot and it's sinking down into the stearine. But that's okay, and we can also see that it's building up a pool of melted stearine outside the aluminium foil, so it's slowly spreading the heat outwards, but within the foil you can see that it has a full pool of stearine which it can draw from and build a good flame, so it won't drown in there, and it will slowly melt outwards. So it's looking good. So now it's been burning for quite a while, at least half an hour, and I can remove this aluminium foil now because it's enough of stearine here. I don't think I will be able to do this without putting out the light, but I'll try. Ah, I made it. So at this point it's no risk that the stem will drown in the stearine, so this guy has performed well, and I can repeat this process if I put this candle out and everything cools down, and then I can restart it with this, putting this collar on again. And to repeat, the thing I think this guy does is that it creates a small area around the stem where stearine can melt and the stem won't burn down, because if I light the stem when the light is cold, then it will not be fed enough stearine to burn, so it will burn down, and then when the stearine melts it will drown in it. So I think this works, and I suppose one can think about this a little bit more and create something, some solution that will work more easily. So thank you for watching.